I was like reluctant to learn it at the time.
Reluctant 意思是
立即收看本集的精彩内容，了解 reluctant 的用法。
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the NG 英文 show. My name is John Drummond, or Yang Haoen.
Hi， 大家好，欢迎回到 NG 英文，我是 Stephanie。今天的来宾是一位創業家以及電影產業的翻譯。接下來就讓我們來歡迎 Stephanie。
Today, I am joined by a superstar, an entrepreneur, a translator, a film and cinema industry expert, a literary expert, and so much more. So everyone, please welcome Stephanie.
Thank you.
Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us. It's so cool because we got to meet on a bit of a casting situation. Mm-hmm. You are on the casting team for a new movie that is filming here in Taiwan. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Very cool. So I was hoping maybe you could share it with our audience here on NG Ingwen. Who is the woman, the myth, the legend?
I'm really not, as special
Humble.
as you're making out. But I will say that I did have a pretty atypical experience growing up in Taiwan. Mm-hmm. But I was born and raised in Taiwan. I grew up in Taipei. And went through the local school system. Mm-hmm. And after high school, I went to college in the U.S. I went to UCLA. Mm-hmm. And afterwards, I stayed and worked there within the film industry. Also did some translation on the side. And when COVID hit, that's when I packed up and moved back to Taiwan for the time being.
For the time being, yes.
Yeah.
Key phrase there. Very cool. Well, I was hoping maybe we could start today with your film and kind of movie industry knowledge and work, because you're really doing some cool stuff. You're helping essentially films find the actors and the talent for their films. Is that correct?
Yeah. So that's what I actually only started doing casting after I moved back to Taiwan. I was first in the Taiwan trilogy casting team, Taiwan 三部曲. Yeah. And so a lot of the expat community here in Taiwan probably would find my name familiar because I was the one posting everywhere the casting calls. What I do is I reach out to agents or just actors or even non-actors who are interested in acting, and depending on the production's need, I contact specific groups of people. We might consider gender, ethnicity, age, appearance, etc. And I audition them and line them up, present them to the director to see if he likes the candidates. And once we're sure which actors we're gonna use, I could do everything from negotiating contracts, arranging travel, accommodation, and by the time we get on set, it's ensuring they're in the right places at the right time.
So valuable, really. I mean, I love to bring friends on like you to share kind of the BTS, the behind the scenes of how much really goes into getting a TV or a commercial or a drama going. I mean, because it's crazy. There's so many moving parts, logistics, timing, right? Like who's sick today, who can fill in.
Yeah, exactly. At the time for Taiwan trilogy too, COVID hadn't really died down in Taiwan yet. So even though the production ended in 2021, later on they picked it up for as an animation, but we still had people out there actually on location. Mm-hmm. And it was about testing swabs and all that.
Yeah, full on COVID prevention scene,
Yeah.
So just what it already is, which is crazy, now add a pandemic on top of that, double crazy.
Exactly.
So cool. So originally though, thinking kind of about the work you were doing all over the world really now has been translation, and Has there been a focus of your translation, a certain industry or topic that you've done? Because I think you've also, you were telling me off air, you've worked for Taiwan News, which is one of my favorite English news sources here in Taiwan. And so, yeah, you've been doing all sorts of kind of translation work, but any specific industry?
So I do a bit of everything. I have a lot of like just document translation, subtitles. But while I was in the US in college, I ventured into this world of like international co-productions. While I was in college, there was this trend for Hollywood and China to do a lot of co-productions. And so I interned at this production company that really specialized in that. And so I realized that this was something that with my background, I could do because I'm fully fluent in both Chinese and English. And also I have training in film. And so I was looking at all these like big Hollywood films that were being produced along with China, but a lot of them were flops and very controversial. And so I figured, well, their mode of communication, you know, it's because when you're doing a co-production, it's not just about getting a translator there to translate the language. You also need to understand the to both sides, you know, cultures, their business models, their creative concepts. And so I realized that this was something that I could really specialize in. And so by the time I graduated college, I started working on starting my own company in LA, specializing in cultural consulting and also translation. Like I translated so many screenplays, treatments, and I joined writer's room, which is when the writers of a series get together and like really brainstorm, like intensive brainstorm sessions to plan out a whole series. So I joined one of those, and yeah, even today I still get screenplay translation jobs.
It's so cool. It's really, you know, seeing the hustle of the translation scene, and it's so cool because it's so interesting because you had the foresight to create your own kind of niche within that and know that you could really be the bridge between Hollywood and China and different productions, right?
Yeah, but unfortunately, by the like later the 2010, obviously U.S. and the relationship between U.S. and China kind of fell apart. And then COVID hit, so I moved back to Taiwan, and I realized that Taiwan has a market for that as well. So I'm also like working on establishing my authority in this field. Yeah,
and it's so cool. I mean, you're already making your name here. You know, you were the casting assistant. You were leading the casting when I came in, and so you're doing it already. And that's a few years back, but only a short time really back in the film industry because you came back to Taiwan and got into reporting right away with Taiwan News. Is that correct?
I joined Taiwan Trilogy first.
I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. So after Taiwan Trilogy, you entered Taiwan News as was that like a field reporter technically?
Like writer reporter?
Yeah. What were you focusing on with Taiwan News?
It was a lot, really.
You had Hermione Lee. Shout out to Hermione. You interviewed Hermione for Taiwan News, right?
Yeah, twice.
Oh, we love Hermione.
Yeah. It was a lot of assignments, really, because I'm very quick at translating. So I got a lot of assignments, but also a lot of technology, especially ESG related stuff, and a lot of everything really: travel, politics, foreign relations, social news. It was a little because it's a small team at Taiwan News, so everyone has to do a bit of everything.
You've got to wear many hats at Taiwan News. Yeah, I was interviewed, but I'm just trying to remember his name from Taiwan News, and I want to say Mark, maybe. Can't remember. But yeah, he came in here and he was just like, yeah, I'm doing 4 different stories, all different industries.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally understand. Well, what's the future for Stephanie? What do you want? Do you want to be building your own company here? Do you want to be going abroad again? What do you think is next?
I have considered building, like, starting another company, like Taiwan, but for now I'm still, trying to mull over plans. For now I'm in another production that you are casting for. Once that wraps, I am going to the UK for a master's degree.
Ooh, authority.
Yeah, exactly. It's about building authority since I'm trying to pave my own way.
Yeah, self-made woman right here. I love it. Yes, well, congratulations with all your success and your I hope your continued success, because you really seem to have found your path, and it's a beautiful intersection of language and arts and culture.
Exactly.
Very, very cool.
来宾是土生土长的台湾人，那他在大学之前都在台湾的学校念书，那直到大学之后他才到了美国读 UCLA。 那他毕业后也继续待在美国的电影产业，并且接了一些翻译的工作。那直到疫情之后他才收拾了一切搬回台湾。那来宾是回到台湾之后才开始接触了选角的工作，那他当时是在台湾三部曲当中的选角当做工作人员，所以如果在外派社团当中的人应该会觉得他的名字很熟悉，毕竟当时他到处贴文找演员。那他主要是联系经纪人或是演员，甚至有兴趣的素人。那依照制作团队的需求，他会去找特定的人群，比如说考虑到性别、种族、外貌等等的。那他会先帮他们试镜，然后再看导演喜不喜欢这样的人选。那确认演员之后，他就会跟他们谈判跟讨论合约内容，再帮他们安排交通住宿。那到了片场之后，他得确保这些演员准时的到达对的地点。像他们当时在拍摄的时候，因为疫情还没有缓和，所以他们就得请大家做快筛。那平常其实已经够疯狂了，但再加上疫情的后，简直就是双倍的疯狂。那来宾也分享，他其实也有蛮多文件的翻译跟字幕翻译的工作。他在大学的时候，当时刚好有蛮多国际上的联合制作，像是好莱坞跟中国。那他刚好进入的制作公司就是专门做这样子的合作，所以他就发现自己的背景其实可以做这样的翻译，毕竟他中英文都流利，而且又了解电影。那来宾说他当时看到其实很多失败又有争议性的电影，但他认为其实跟沟通有很大的关系，尤其共同制作的时候，其实翻译不应该只是单纯的翻译语言，而是要真的能够理解双方的文化、商业模式跟创意理念。所以他毕业后就在 LA 开始创业，专门做文化顾问以及翻译。那他当时翻译了很多剧本，也参与了编剧的会议。那可惜在2010年的时候，因为美国跟中国的关系破裂，又遇到了疫情的关系，所以来宾就搬回来台湾了。那他搬回来台湾后，发现台湾其实有这样的需求，所以他试着在这个市场当中占有一席之地。那来宾也说，他回来台湾后，本来是在台湾三部曲担任选角的工作人员，但后来他就成为了 Taiwan News 的一位记者。那他做了很多科技，尤其 ESG 相关的议题。那他说，因为台湾 News 是一个比较小的团队，所以也身兼多职。那来宾分享，他其实想要在台湾再次创业，但目前还在计划中。那目前他在另一个制作团队工作，但他打算这边结束之后要去英国读硕士。那我们来复习一下刚刚来宾提到的一些片语跟词汇。第一个是 Expat E-X-P-A-T， 那其实是 expatriate 的缩写，那主要是形容外派人员。Candidates C-A-N-D-I-D-A-T-E-S， 意思就是人选。那 negotiate N-E-G-O-T-I-A-T-E， 代表着谈判或是讨论。那接下来就是 specialized S-P-E-C-I-A-L-I-Z-E-D， 代表着专门。flop F-L-O-P， 代表着失败。那最后就是 controversial C-O-N-T-R-O-V-E-R-S-I-A-L， 也就是有争议的意思。那我们继续来听接下来的专访吧。
Do you mind, though, if we switch gears, Stephanie, to talk about the language side specifically? Because here you are speaking so beautifully, and I'm like, yeah, you must have grown up in the U.S., right? Wrong.
Yeah.
All in Taiwan.
Born and raised.
Born and raised, yeah. So can you share a little bit about your story with language?
Yeah. So obviously I am fluent in Chinese and English. I also speak French and Korean.
What?
Yeah.
Surprise!
My one principle in learning anything is that only study what really interests you. Otherwise, it's just torture.
Ooh.
And so I guess I just have a natural interest in languages. I'll start with French and Korean since those are simpler stories. Okay. So for French, my first contact with French was I lived in Vancouver for 1 year when I was in junior high school. And so in Vancouver, obviously in Canada, French is like they have to learn. They teach French at schools, and everyone has to learn it.
It's kind of like the Spanish of the United States in a way, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like usually the second language first.
And but at the time, I was like, well, I'm only here for a year. Why do I have to learn this? Like, I have no like foundation in this language whatsoever. So I was like reluctant to learn it at the time. But then after I came back to Taiwan, at school, we were shown the French musical, Notre Dame de Paris. And I got absolutely obsessed with it. So
Beautiful.
I went from not knowing a single word to now like being able to just sing along with everything.
Nice.
I actually last year during lockdown, a friend of mine and I like bought tickets to the Paris show like this November.
So you're going to Paris for the show?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh
I'm not gonna
goodness.
miss it. It's the 25th anniversary.
That's amazing.
But yeah, that's how obsessed I am with it. I tend to like fangirl a lot. But yeah, so I've been learning French since high school, and I'm still taking French lessons now.
Wow, so cool. And so maybe thinking kind of about all your language, has there been any similarities, any techniques, tools, and tips really that have applied to all of them? I think you beautifully said, study what you're interested in, which I always stress on this show. I know going backwards there for a second, sometimes in school, if you're listening, you're a student, you might not always love math right now, or you might not always love history. That's a different story.
Yeah, because you don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice. You got to play the game, guys. Play the game. I promise it gets better. But once you graduate and you have choices on what to study, being interested or curious about something to study is so invaluable. So maybe in your own words, do you have any tools, tips, and advice that have worked across your languages?
I think even though for French and Korean now I don't get enough, I don't have enough time to do it, but actually writing it, actually speaking it, because the way I learned English, this really ties into the way I was able to improve my English, was by like ferociously writing and reading. Those are like, because I have always been a like great I've loved books as a kid. So one key to my English learning journey was Harry Potter.
Love that. Shout out J.K. Rowling.
I'll go from the start. So I always tell people that I never graduated from kindergarten because halfway through it, my mom put me in this like all English school, 全美语. And so I was there like every day, full day. Maybe I think that probably helped with my accent, like make me sound native.
Yeah, because when I met you, I was like, oh, for sure you were born in America.
Yeah, no. And then it's kind of backwards compared to my peers in Taiwan, really, because it was very intensive at first, and then as I went through elementary school, it got less and less intensive.
Right.
So it went from a full week of like fully English environment to a couple of days of English classes after school, to a tutor once a week.
Right.
So by the time I was in 6th grade, my English education was a bit stagnant, even though I was still way ahead of my peers. And so why I said Harry Potter was a key, because around 6th grade, before that I was reading Harry Potter in Chinese, and then come 6th grade, the 7th book was just published. And I was like, I cannot wait for this brick of a book to be translated.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to try it out. And so I opened it and I realized that, I actually understand enough to like follow the story like very well. There were definitely a lot of vocabulary, but yeah, I was able to read through it. And so since then, I've been reading just English novels a lot, and that helped a lot. And another turning point for me was after Canada, which I went in 7th grade. After I came back to Taiwan, I was a transfer student at the school, and unfortunately, I went through some like rough times with my classmates. So the one coping mechanism I had was writing in my diary. But one day I realized that like my desk was not really a safe space. Like people were like at least putting things in it.
Right.
And then and so I figured, okay, I'm gonna write in English. So even if someone does get their hands on my like really private stuff, like they're probably not gonna understand it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's like your secret code almost.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, literally, I would for quite a few years, I would not go anywhere without my journal. This lasted until at least the end of high school. I was writing in it every day, like almost every hour.
Wow.
I didn't care like if my grammar was wrong. I was just writing, and I was reading a lot of English novels as well. So I guess this combination really like gave me a very solid boost. Yeah. And then after that, it was UCLA, and obviously that
full immersion. I just love that kind of thinking about the combination there of reading in English and then actually out of necessity writing in English in a journal. Journals are so powerful, actually, for really mental clarity. We use it a lot in mental health. And but just that's so great. And I'm sorry it came that way, like you had to hide it almost, but it was your own little secret language. But what a boost to your ability now to translate, to be fluent really in the language. Wow, what a cool story there.
Thank you.
Very cool. Well, Stephanie, unfortunately we're coming to the end of the show here, and I wish you continued success, and I hope you can bring all your talents around the world as you seem to continue to do.
来宾说他除了中文跟英文之外也会法文跟韩文，那他读书的原则就是要学真正能够让他感兴趣的东西，否则他认为简直是虐待。那来宾很自然的对于学习语言感兴趣。那会学习法文的原因是因为他在加拿大的温哥华住过1年，那因为当时的高中法文是一个必修课。来宾说他当时其实非常不愿意学习法文，因为他完全没有任何基础。可是他有一次回台湾的时候看了一个法文的音乐剧后，就完全迷恋上了，也因此他从一句法文都不会说到现在都可以跟着音乐一起唱了。那来宾说他其实从高中的时候就开始在学法文，而且直到现在都有持续在上课。那他分享在学习语言的时候一定要多写跟说，因为他的英文就是透过大量的写跟读才进步的。那因为来宾小时候本来就很爱看书，所以学习英文当中的时候他认为关键是哈利波特的书。那另外来宾也说其实他认为他自己没有从大班毕业，因为他读到一半的时候他的母亲就送他到了一间补习班，那他认为这或许对他的腔调有一点帮助，因为听起来会像母语人士。那来宾也说他上了小学之后学习英文的次数变少了，那直到6年级的时候他发现虽然他的英文程度比同学们好，但是有点停滞了。那他会说哈利波特是关键的原因是因为当时第7本书发行的时候他不想要等翻译版本，所以他就试着读原文。那另一个转捩点就是在国1的时候，因为刚转学回台湾，所以很多同学之间有一些问题，那他的调试机制就是写日记，但他为了不让其他人看懂他在写什么，所以就是用英文写了。而他在高中毕业之前都一直有写日记的习惯，也一直有在持续看英文的小说，因此这个组合让他增强了许多。那后来他去美国读书之后，就是完全沉浸在英文的环境当中。那我们来复习一下刚刚来宾提到的一些片语跟词汇。第一个是 torture T-O-R-T-U-R-E， 也就是虐待的意思。Reluctant R-E-L-U-C-T-A-N-T， 意思是不愿意。Voraciously VORACIOUSLY， 意思是大量的或者形容狼吞虎咽。最后就是 stagnant，stagnant，STAGNANT， 代表着停滞的意思。那我们继续来听接下来的专访吧。
A question I'd love to end the show with is if you could go back and talk to a younger Stephanie, maybe when you were writing in your diary in English, would there be any advice you give yourself about life, language, literature, art, culture, anything?
I think life-wise, I would tell myself, continue doing what you love to do, even though there will be struggles along the way. Even today, I'm still struggling with, is this the right decision that I made? But so far, it's been satisfying. Language-wise, I would say pick up French and Korean sooner because it is true, like, it's so much easier to learn a language when you're younger.
Yes, that is.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, I think.
Are you a Blackpink fan?
No, I watch a lot of Korean drama.
Okay,
That's
Korean
how
drama,
I
yeah.
learned
So not
Korean.
K-pop, K-drama. Is
Yeah,
there is that a slang for that?
K-drama. Yeah.
It's just K-drama? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so K-dramas is where it's at.
Yeah,
Okay.
for me.
Makes sense. Yeah, I didn't take you as a Blackpink. I just watched a
No.
Blackpink documentary, so I'm like a fan now.
Nice.
Shout out Blackpink on Netflix. It's like very old, but I respect because
That's a very successful documentary. Then they gain a new fan.
Gain a new fan, like somebody who I'd never imagined myself being interested. But to hear this, anyway. I mean,
They definitely work hard.
They work hard, yeah, and they have backgrounds all in just being, some of them are foreigners. I think one of the girls Thai, one girl grew up in the U.S. So it's just cool. It's like a multicultural little beautiful family. But anyway, I digress.
来宾会给年轻自己的建议就是要做自己热爱的事情，虽然过程中可能会挣扎，因为就算是现在他也会挣扎跟不确定自己选择是否是对的，但目前为止都蛮满意的。那如果是语言方面的话呢，他会选择早点学法文跟韩文，因为他认为真的年纪小的时候学习比较容易。那我们就谢谢今天的来宾 Stephanie。Stephanie,
where can people maybe reach out to you online? Do you have any social media that they could follow along with or talk to you if they have any tips? Or if they have any questions, I should say?
Probably my Instagram, Stephanie PHJIANG.
Whoa, what's that stand for?
It's my full name.
Oh.
With my Chinese initials.
Through there? Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Stephanie. Well, thank you. We wish you much success, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you so much.
All right. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the NG England show. Please go follow along with Stephanie if you're curious more about arts and entertainment and translation and language, or myself, John Drummond 89, or Young Houghton on social media. All right, everyone. Thank you for your curiosity, your dedication to learning, and your drive. We'll talk to you next time. Much love. Peace. All right. Well, that is our NG England show for today. We hope everyone enjoyed listening to that. You can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and now Spotify. You can search NG Ingwen, or you can search on IG, NG English ICRT. And don't forget to tune in every Wednesday morning from 6:30 to 7, and Wednesday night from 9 to 9:30. We'll catch you on the next episode. Bye-bye.